Okay, so I had a lot go on yesterday, and it was Easter. And after those two videos I made, uh, I started processing information, and this is the why I need the equipment, right? Because I want people to see the process of what I go through, so maybe they can catch something that they can get, and not their process, but maybe they can find something that works for them, and I'm gonna try and explain it as best as possible since I couldn't document it. So yesterday, I was talking to y'all, and all these revelations come through to my head, and let me get my water. And so I take all that information, right, and I create little scientific experiments for myself. Now, I kind of knew I was doing it before, but now I really know. Now I know that my brain was doing it without me really doing it my whole life, right? Just defense mechanisms, right? So I'm gonna try and explain it to you, and this could be babbling because at the same time, all of it's trying to rush in and get out, and they all like excited, screaming from the tops of the mountaintops, "I love you," like that's maybe not the words they're saying, but they're trying to get their voice heard. So I'm gonna try and do this process so you can see this part of it and how I analyze it and accept things. Just move on from one day. It doesn't mean that the things I accept are good or anything, but I have to put the human element to it of why I did it. And that's the whole point of this is I do this for myself to try and look at myself and why I did it. Not because of why any institutions, any other human beings that did things to me. I have to let all that go to get through this process. So this is the best I can describe it. Like after I talk to y'all, uh, I I was so excited and I felt happy for the first time. Oh, puppy, what are you throwing up? So I don't know how to edit that out, so you're just gonna have to live with me. Um, and that's true, we all just have to live with each other. That's a real statement there. Um, the process I went through was I did in science experiments, like the things I felt, and then like they're experiments, like that's just at the moment what I think I need. So I'm gonna try it because it's not gonna hurt anyone around me. Um, if somebody sees it, it might be embarrassing, but at this point, I can't worry about that. I have to accept that. So I have to tell myself that to keep going to better myself. And this is just like decades of trying the system. This isn't gonna be a catch all, fix all, or it may not even be for you, but you might be able to get something out of it. So I took all this information that made me feel good, and I was happy for once in a long time. And I had to focus on that. Like my little dog throwing up right now. I brought water for me. I didn't bring water for them. I would think about that before. I would make sure anything I bring out here with me was for them, and I might forget something for myself. And I think we do that a lot in life. So just bear with me. She didn't die, right? Because she didn't have water. No, I gave her some of mine. That's simple. And I had to. My brain would freak out before, right? But I could share. I had it, and I shared with her, and it was fixed. Nothing hurt. Nothing. I had a little less water. I'm not that far from the house. I don't have to drink out of a dish. But anyway, that's here nor there. That's just the way my brain thinks. That's how hard it is to make a daily walk in life or brush my teeth. Like I don't know how long it's been since I brushed my teeth, guys. And that's okay, because I recognized it today. And so I went and brushed my teeth 3 times before I brushed my teeth. I just want to share this with you because it's okay. It's okay. You just got to make sure that you don't have something on a stove, which I've done the last 2 days. And thank goodness that someone was home. Usually no one's home. That could have been really bad. So I got to watch, I got to pay attention. I'm not going to hurt someone or burn down the house, and I have to pay attention to that because we go on and we make mistakes when we're in this phase, and mistakes that sometimes harm someone else or something else that you can't replace, and you can't fix, and that's more trauma you put on yourself instead of just listening to that voice like, it's okay, don't cook today, man. You can't. It's okay, you can't call that person today because you can't. It's okay. I don't know why I can't, and I kind of do because my brain's just rushing and rushing and rushing, and it never stops. So last night, the process, right? I don't know how much time I have to. I don't have much time at all, man. 5 minutes. So I'll try and wipe some more stuff out or try and learn how to use the clouds. But I take this process and I took the things that felt good, like the movements that I was doing all day and letting my tics come out and my stuttering and the blinking and the stomping my foot and the twerks that I just want to go, ah! I let it out. I let it out and I didn't care because I was at home. I was on my property, and it sometimes was in front of someone, and I tried to keep it quiet a little bit because there's still that shame. So I hit a little bit, and so I went outside and started listening to my music, and I just started moving my body, and it was like no dancing, but it was dancing. But it was like no dance. It was just what my brain was just letting go of my body, and letting it just find its own rhythm, because I was listening and singing to the music, but my body wasn't moving to that rhythm, right? It wasn't moving to that rhythm at all. Nothing. And that was okay. For once in my life, it was okay. And that was just for the moment. It didn't do that and I want to explain something. I used a tool to do that, to get over that little bit of fear. But I didn't bury that tool. I didn't drown in that tool. I got one beer, drank one beer, and I drank it fast. I needed that. I know if I drink it fast that I get that, and so I used it, and I used it properly. So I'm proud of myself there, and I gotta tell myself that. Because I wasn't addicted. I was using the tool wrong. Because I know I can drink now. As long as I don't get caught up. And you get caught up in situations like I will absorb things that are going on around me and see that it's wrong and not right, but trying to fit in, I go with it. And I've done that with a lot of things in my life, and some of it hurt people. So now I recognize that. So now I can change that. And I know that'll help my brain be in less conflict. Because the conflict right now I'm having is, do I want to continue doing this or not? I can't see how much time we have. But I'm going to continue. I'm going to fight that part that keeps telling me to stop. Because I could have stopped last night because I found something that worked, and I could have got lost in that. Just lost in it. But when I get lost in it, the cog isn't in the right place. So I get further and further down, and it's like, oh, it feels so good. It feels so good. And so I overuse it. And then it becomes numb, just like everyday life. And it becomes numb, so I quit changing myself and trying to be a better human. And not on purpose, because it feels good at that moment. That's another tool, another defense mechanism that I recognize. The whole part of my brain that kept screaming out my whole life since I was a little bitty child, a baby trying to get something to eat, or attention to be held, that's still there. It never goes away, and that's the part that saves you in life. We think of it as a weakness sometimes, that part that cries out. It's not a weakness, guys. It's not. You're not weak. You're just trying to survive, and you're only given a certain amount of tools. So I think now that I've come in light with this, and this works for me, I want to share it and say it's okay, and this might not be it, but it might be a piece of the puzzle that you can live one more day, and you want to live one more day because there's hope. And that's the whole reason that voice cries out, you know? And it's amazing that I see that now, and I want to share it. Uh, and I wish you could see the whole physical process of it. I wasn't even moving to the tune of the music, man. I was moving to where my brain was. My brain was making the movements, and I let it. I quit trying to fight it. And it's important that it needs that. And it might not need it every day, and it might not need it all the time, right? But it needed it at that moment, and it worked, and that's good, man. That's good, and I took that, and I'm gonna run with it a little bit until I find that I'm either overusing it or because everything I gain that I feel it's like a experiment, a science experiment. I'm not lying. So everything I gain, I put as an information, and I used to be able to write this down, and I can't. So I gain this information in my mind, and it's like, okay, you know. So what we gonna do with it? I test it, and that part worked. So when I feel that anxiety of stuff isn't clicking together, I think I'm gonna use that. You know, just to get that moment of maybe it lasts 10 minutes, maybe it lasts 2 hours. I don't know how long it lasted last night. That's why it's important. I want to document that, but I needed the music. I needed the music to be able to. This is like right now. I'm looking. That ain't how much time I have left. That's how much time I've been talking. That's why I keep thinking, wow, that's all I got left on my memory on my phone. Damn, I gotta get a memory card. But that's the way my brain works, right? Like we was sitting there and I was smoking a cigarette with a friend and we inside, but the window's open, so the air keeps circulating. But after 15 minutes, there was still smoke. It looked like it was bellowing in. And scientifically, I know that there's an opening here and a closing here, and so it just circulates. But in my mind, if I didn't go check that out, we were gonna burn to death because I didn't look. And I want to share that because that's where my mind drives me, and that drive sometimes uh, the drive it you get lost in it sometimes, and everything's a worry, and you break it all down to this is a disaster and people are going to get hurt. And I think that come from Katrina because I never lost anything like that, and it was all just bull crap, man. Things that mean nothing, nothing. But I lost it, and I knew it. And at that point in my life, material things are nothing to me because anything I had, it was stolen from me. So I quit buying things, and I quit trying to look nice, and I quit trying to do things. And that's a defense mechanism too, you know, not to be deceived. And that's a big thing in my life, man. Not to be deceived. Once you deceive me, it's hard to get over. And I see that now, so I can change that. I can be a better human and accept that they're a human and they went through different things in their brains just trying to work it out, you know? Um, Everything's coming so fast, it's so hard to share. Like, I sit there all night. I've had ups and downs and cries and breakdowns and happiness, and because they're tears of joy that I can accept them right now. And yeah, some of them are bad things. Some are really bad things, you know? Things you regret for the rest of your life, and people never forgive you for, and I don't blame them. They have every right because they're trying to protect themselves. And that's where I got to be at right now. And you got to give yourself that grace to really accept that your brain's just crying out, trying to put puzzles and pieces because things that you see and know, in your very being, in your human being, that isn't human being like. That's not how we survived this long. It wasn't all rape and pillage. That's just the conquerors saying that's what worked. There was times of peace and unity. I lived through some. Not for very long, because we only have a system that's set up from 200 years. I can't remember now, right? So things like that I can't remember. So it's hard to explain some facts that I know to people, and they think I can't say it or I don't know it, and they're right. and I just can't get it out, because at that point my brain starts panicking, rushing for information I've grabbed from everywhere. It's not that I don't know, or I think I don't have the thing, and that's why I get facts wrong sometimes. And I don't mind getting facts wrong, but when it's really important to get that fact across, to where it makes it to where maybe you have a little less pain, or someone else in the world could have a little bit less pain and hardship. All that time of having money, you know, to be able to do this and buy this place and secure it, I had fun. I had a lot of fun. But in that fun, I hurt people too. So it didn't make a difference, right? It didn't make a difference that I had the money to do the things that was fun to me. It didn't make a difference that I may have hurt some people while I was having that fun. Kira, I know, baby, but yeah, what are you doing? And that's wrong, and I see that now, and I have to recognize it if I want to get better, right? I have to accept that part of me, because that was a lesson in life. And, you know, I always try not to make the same mistake twice. I try and learn from it. And that was another thing my mom used to tell me all the time. If you make a mistake, it's okay. But you have to face it and admit to it, and maybe apologize to it. It might not help to apologize, but it will help not to do it to someone else. And learn from that. And those are little key things. That's what I'm saying. We can't throw away everything we have adopted because of bad actors to make rules so they can win. You know, we're taking it out on each other that have no power except to look at ourselves, and maybe if you make yourself better, I think we can make the world better. There's too many people with conflicts in their brain, and their brain's fighting for them, you know. And sometimes the angry voices and all just went out, and it happened in me because I'd seen this at one point in my life, because I made a lot of changes that quit hurting people. I'd forgotten about it because I thought I was better, but once you start using tools the wrong way, right? Just get deeper and deeper numb to it. And I see that now. So I took that one beer and let my inhibitions enough out to be able to express what for my brain, that one individual part of my brain that has its own autonomy and its own body. And it told me, just let go. So I used my music, and I used my brain, and my beer, and my cigarettes. These are all tools in life, you know. Now this I'm using way too much. I'm chain smoking, and I thought maybe if I roll my own I wouldn't chain smoke, but I'm chain smoking. But it's a tool, and it's a tool that gets me through, and it only hurts me. Right? And at the moment, I mean, I know if something happens, if I get cancer or whatever, that hurts others around me. But at the moment, it works, and it's not really hurting anybody else around me. So that's what those tools, sometimes I gotta abuse to accept and get through things. That's all. That's all. And those are tools that won't really immediately affect anybody, because by the time they find out if I have cancer or not, maybe there's a cure, or maybe there's better odds. And that's the way my brain thinks analytically. I just want to try, you know, analytically, and I let it be analytical maybe, because I think we all have it. We're just told we only use 10% of our brain. That's just bull crap, man. Everything fires up from emotion That's why I give them different voices, right? Because I know now. I know the brain has different parts that do different things. So they're different entities in my own head. And that's okay. You know, I just got to give them their own voice and their own space and listen to them and try what they think. I've tried all the bad voices, what they think. I've tried the professional voices, what they think. And now I got to listen to my own voice, that one little voice that has fought for me to survive every day, to tell me to eat something or drink something, the basic things of survival. It's that same voice, man. And it's kept me alive this long. And I see that now. And I want other people to realize that. That voice when you're a baby, when you're first born, and they take all that fluid out your lungs. That first scream is a scream of, I don't know what's going on. Someone hold me. You know? That scream never goes away. That scream. And I held myself last night, and I didn't care if somebody seen or a ring doorbell or somebody was out in their yard just laughing at me. I didn't care. Because it was for me and my brain, that one little voice, that one little person in my head that has been there forever, just that I buried because of things I was told and things that were supposed to happen. That was buried in all that disappointment that it didn't, and it didn't work for me the way it worked for others, and I laugh at it now. I laugh at it, and I'm like, you're right, man. I'm not laughing at it because I'm like, wow, you're right, and I've been fighting it all along. You don't have to. You have to listen to each voice, even the angry one, right? Because that's the one that's at the end of its rope. That's the one that's going to jump off the cliff and bring everyone with them. You know, you got to listen to it too. That's a warning sign, a red flag in your head, telling that voice to keep on amping up tools that keep you going, to maybe recognize the other voice that's so buried behind it. That's all it is. I realize that now. All these things we give them and angers and moods, and those are all just modern words, bro. Modern flipping words that we're fighting over. Wow. Has it really come to this again? Again, like this is like a fight that has been going on since the beginning of time, and people can try and express what they feel and want, and that little voice that told them to breathe in the first place, that's trying to get out there. That's what all this is about. And that's amazing to me, to sit back and think, wow, 300,000 years and we're still here. We're still here because only some of us seen it and couldn't express it or document it. That's amazing to me, man. And I know people see it because people try and help. And even people that think they're bad, you're not bad. You're not. You've just had society woes trying to fit into boxes that you think you fit into because you're told that's the way it's supposed to be, you know? And it's proven just in every neighborhood in America, they're not all cookie cutter, you know? Even though they may look the same when you walk in that door, they're all different because nobody's real, because they got to try and fit in to these boxes. I like that I recognize that, and that may not be the answer, but that's what I see right now, and I want to share that because it's a process of what I'm going to keep in life to try and live another day, even though I say I don't want to, you know? And this is, I guess this is a good part to document too, because you do see the realization as I say it out loud. And I used to go hide to do this in my room or write it down so no one can hear it. You got to say it out loud for me. Because that's the way my brain works. And I realize that now. Never knew. I never understood how my brain works. And that's how it's working right now. Because see, for example, I could use power tools at one time. I was in wood shop. I took metal trades. I welded. I did built some of a boat and stuff like that. Can't do none of it now. I can't even. I was so excited. I built a window, and I didn't build the window, right? I just filled in the parts that I could see, and it took months and months and of some people, and I'm not blaming it. I'm not call, others saying they were going to help, right? And I don't think they knew what they were doing either. So that's okay, because I'm very critical. Not and it's okay not to do something for me. I get it. I get that too, and I know that as it's happening, and I'm throwing a fit about it. I seen that. I just couldn't stop it. It was uncontrollable anymore. I used to be able to control that, so I beat myself up so bad that I isolated myself, and I tried to run people away from me. Because even people that were around me, I would tell them, I'm at this state of mind that I could really hurt your feelings and stuff. Please, I'd rather you wouldn't be here, or I wouldn't come in contact with you. And for the people that had to be there, can you imagine what they had to go through? Wow. And now I can analyze it and accept it, because I felt so bad that I just kept doing it, just try and drive everyone away from me so I can do what I thought I needed to do and not be here. And I see that now. And because, there was certain questions this time, like, this is like the 10th time, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Do it if you're going to do it. And I get that. I get people that say that, because I said that to people at some times. Because I was a coward in my eyes. In my brain. I was a coward to that voice that was angry that I couldn't. I was a coward to that voice that was angry and expected something of me that didn't add up to the rest of me. So I let it get out of hand. And I think that's what's happening to a lot of people. It's not, I don't trust none of them, right? I don't like Biden. He was fourth and flipping line to get in there, and if you can't see that both sides don't care, this is a big indicator of when it was just a realization to me, and I'm done with them people, because they can't see right now, and I don't like to fool with people that intentionally. This is intentional for greed. They're sick. They're sick too. This is what we got to understand. These people, you don't become president because you don't have an ego. Right? The others collaborated, the ones that said they did care, the ones that said that had been fighting for us all this time, just collapsed back with the system of, oh no, we got to have these players in there because we own them. We own their very being of what they think their reputation may be. It ain't about reputation. It's about you can destroy the way they live. And you do it to people all the time. Destroy the way they live. And you should think about that. I want you to hear that little voice that told you to breathe in the first flipping place. I'm talking about people with real power. I'm not talking about people with no power. That make these decisions based on money and their lifestyle. You're sick, man. You need to step back and look at yourself. You need to listen to that voice that first told you to breathe. And I'm sorry, this became about everybody else now. I'm sorry. But these are the things that go on in my head that I don't understand why other people don't see. So I pushed them back because I was trying not to see them, trying to fit in. So it is part of the process, and maybe I am just talking to myself, because I had power at times. I have power over my dogs, over things in my life, and I don't listen to that voice that tells me to breathe. And I unintentionally do things trying to fit in. And it's confusing, so I do bad things sometimes because that other voice, that other body that has made me angry just don't care anymore. There's no more hope. And for that voice, the no more hope is where you lose it all. And you become someone you never was. And it's so hard to not become that person and to get out of that because of shame and things that people define that were predators to define this. And maybe not. Maybe some had good intention, right? Because I run with ideas all the time. And right now is a process, and I want to get out there and I want to interview people and see their human side. Put aside all the societal, this is named a knife and this is named a spoon and you can't eat soup with a knife. Stop it. I just, that's the conflict in my brain, the fight every day of seeing these stupid, silly things that I find silly. And then the angry voice and the hopeless voice wins out. And it went out a long time. Like I say, 20 years, this has been decades, bro. Decades. Just gone. You gotta laugh about it sometimes because it was right there the whole time. Right there, and it's right there for everybody the whole time. Love yourself when you make mistakes. Try not to repeat them. Apologize if you can, and even if it won't make a difference to them, because it's important that you own up to your mistakes to yourself, right? Before it makes anybody else believe or trust you again. That I understand. And I will make mistakes because that angry voice just sometimes slips in there. The ups and downs and the emotions before I even came out here to fight myself, to come out here and tell you this. And this wasn't what I had in my mind, right? This isn't everything I thought about the whole time I couldn't sleep. I don't know what time I went to bed again. I don't care because the sleep I am getting is restful. May just be an hour, I don't know. But it actually is restful. And I think I should share that so people know. Just by dividing all these little things in your head and letting go of your inhibitions. And if you use a tool to do it right, Don't abuse it because it feels good at the moment. Moments are fleeting. There is no time. It just exists, and we give it a name so we can understand it, to put a cog in our brain, so we can grow things and we can get to work on time, and we can feed the baby on time because the schedule's important to them at this age, and that's important, I tried to keep a schedule with my child even though I was mentally ill and didn't know, but when I was pregnant, I was so excited. It was everything in the world to me. I tried for so long, and I had miscarriage when I was like 19, and I was told that my uterus could never hold a child, and I'm like, yeah, but life on this planet is amazing, So when I was ready, and that may have been a defense mechanism of why I'm more attracted to women, right? My brain said, you can't have a child right now because you don't want to hurt people. And not saying I didn't, and I don't mess him up. Like I said, I can see when I look at him, there's a panic in his eyes of who's she going to be today? Or at this moment, or in this hour. It hurts, and I feel ashamed of it, so I get mean just to push away because I don't understand how to fix it. Not that I don't want to fix it. Like I said, there's realizations that are coming out I don't even remember what we were talking about before. I think I was trying to use an example. I don't know. That's okay, because I'm going to keep going. Right? I keep telling myself, I don't care. Some things I get through, I'm going to drag you kicking and screaming. You're going to do it. You're going to go through it. And I do that at times. And then I go out in public, and then I go to functions, and then I hurt someone's feelings. Because they unknowingly, right? Unknowingly hurt mine. And I realize this now. All the smart butt comments and stuff. It's, I can write like small things like descriptions and stuff because I can do it in that moment. And I think from reading so long and loving the English language, because it is so descriptive. And I've lost a lot of vocabulary too, like, and definitions. A lot of it. That's what I'm saying. I think that's where I was, losing the abilities I had. Like, I could use power tools and weld and stuff, and now I'm too afraid. Like, things move in my head too fast. Like, I can go measure something, have the right measurement, bring it outside, cut it, same exact thing, and still have it wrong. It wasn't that way at one time. It wasn't that way. So I'd rather use a handsaw, even though it hurts my neck and my back, because I went through a windshield when I was 26. And I would rather use a screwdriver that hurts my wrists because of all the sports and fall downs I have. These are defense mechanisms that have kept me safe with it I didn't even recognize. And I just accepted, well, okay, I just can't use tools no more. And in the inside, that other little voice that's losing everything, that other little voice that's losing everything's crying and depressed. And the other little voice is happy that it found something to cope with, the mechanism that it needs. And like I said, I know they're all my voice, but I give them independent bodies now. This has been a revelation coming through decades. And I just want to share it so maybe you can use some of it or find your niche or look up something I said. Don't ever take my word of it, because it's all an experiment to me and everything's so confused, and I may get facts wrong. It may be just what my brain took from it because it needed it at that moment. So I'm saying this is not advice, this is documentation of how I go through this process. So don't take this as advice, If you can use some of it, fine. If you can't, that's okay too, but you can know there is a process you can find for yourself to save yourself. To listen to that voice that first screamed out, feed me, hold me, change my diaper, this stuff is irritating. All these other things we call emotions are defense mechanisms we build up to try and fit in a box or a label or a word or a name that we just made up, these words and things, to try and express. And we tell our brains it's okay, and we bury other voices in them. I do things for other people, and it used to be better things, like more structured things and stuff at certain points in my life, because I can, right? Mentally, that's what I can do. That's what I'm mentally capable of. And I try and hang on to those things, like remind myself it's not egotistical to remind yourself of the good you have done. It's okay, it embarrasses me to go do something and then someone talk about it. And I don't know why that is, and I think it's because in my mind, a hero to me is someone who never says who they saved, or that's just in my mind. And it's human nature to want to be that hero and blurt it out because you think you had something, and it's good, It's good you feel good about yourself. You did something good. And I have to accept that and revel in it when I feel so bad about myself. It's not egotistical. It's a tool. It's a tool that I was ashamed of. To accept that I helped and took credit for it. But it's also life lessons, life lessons that my brain needs to live. All these voices I'm letting come out now instead of intentionally focusing on one, because that's what got me through the day, to be mad, to live. It was just a tool. And now I see that, and I was misusing it. That's the whole thing of our species. We use tools. We just gave them different names and said that's the only tool there is. But you think about it, your heart's a tool. It pumps your blood, but your brain tells it to. Your lungs are a tool. It breathes in and out and takes it has certain things that does good things for you and certain things that collect things and may turn bad in your body, right? But it's a tool. But your brain's the one that tells it to breathe. And when something's wrong with it. Not your body. The infection that you pop up right there, that's for your visual, right? Your brain tells you it's there to look at it. That's a tool. Whether we want to pay attention to it or ignore it and get gangrene, that part of our brain is like, oh well, you knew. I showed you. I see this now. And yeah, it makes me happy. And that's good. I haven't been happy in a long time with things I should have been that people told me I should have been. But I was in so much conflict with myself that I didn't let that voice be heard. Not feel. I can't explain how I feel. Like talking to you right now, I'm getting a head rush like if I was smoked a really good old Colombian weed. They find things, predators find things that work for people and then they mash them out. Right? It's amazing that we don't see this. They keep us so busy of trying to breathe and trying to fit in. And I'm with this one and I'm with that one. I would do silly things when I was in high school. Oh, well, I only spent like 2 semesters in high school and then I quit. But when I was in school, I would go out because I would wear the opponent's swag, gear, whatever. I can't think of the word right now. And that would intentionally make people mad. But I don't like competition, and I don't think our team's any better. It's just that night we did better. I don't know. That's sportsmanship to me in my head. That's what sportsmanship meant to me, and when it stopped being that, I quit. I quit participating. I quit participating when a known cheater, now what he cheated was ridiculous and it shouldn't have been a rule, but it was a rule, right? And this is the way I see it. This isn't end all be all for everybody, and they should see it this way. But in my way, the way I seen it, he cheated. It was stupid. It was a inflated ball or whatever. It was stupid as hell, right? But he cheated because there was a rule about it. Now, if that rule wasn't there, and he cheated, then that wouldn't be a problem for me, because that wasn't a cheat to me. That's how the whole point of it, of the game, is your feel, your fit, right? They're just trying to make it. I don't know. Anyway, that's neither here nor there, right? That isn't what I'm getting to right now. And then a known rapist, right, started the season. These are the two. These are the two, and a child rapist at that. And there was this is how powerful money is, right? This is the way I see it. Like, there was a 16-year-old that he had brought to his hotel room and walked right past an off-duty police officer because he was doing security that he was getting paid for, because paying police is, you can't live off of it, right? So those are the circumstances I see that I can forgive these actions. But there's some things I won't participate in, because I see these actions. And that keeps my sanity. So I quit watching the NFL for a while, and not because I don't love the game, and I know people are hurting themselves, and it's all for like fame and money, and instead of the love of the sport and not hurting each other, and there's ways, flag football and stuff, you can still have fun. What do you think we did when we were kids? We didn't have helmets and stuff. We played flag football or touch football and flag football, and yeah, it gets tackled and stuff like that, and it's exciting, but we also break arms when we do that, or wrist. You know who I'm talking about. But yeah, it's amazing what we do to ourselves just to try and fit in. They know that they go home and have all these confusions, and they may hurt someone they love, but they do it for the money, so they can live a good lifestyle and have fun because they want it right now, just right now, because they never had it, maybe. Or maybe they had it and they lost it and they want it back because they thought that's what made them happy. Understand that. That's a drug too. All these things that we call drugs and stuff, they're just labels, right? They're tools. They've been here since the beginning of time, before us, right? They just misuse them. And we give them shame. So we hide and we bury ourselves in them. And I want to lift that dogma and that shame so we can help. We can help people that are just that part of their brain in conflict, thinking that because it does feel good, and it becomes shameful to you because you felt good, and people are going to think things about you, right? So that shame turns into loathing and not wanting to be here, and you just keep burying yourself in it and burying yourself in it, hoping that you won't be here the next morning when you wake up and you're straight. That's painful. That's more painful than the dope coming out of your system and not being able to get another fix. That's more painful than anything. But it's okay, We're just misusing a tool. And if you hear this, you can get through it, man. Just back up a little bit. I'm not asking you to stop, ever. Just use it right. You're an adult that make adult decisions for yourself. Just don't try and hurt yourself with them. And when I learn these things, I give myself rules and laws, right? because that's structure for me. That's how my brain works, rules and laws. That's what restrains me and gives my good person, my good human being voice, a voice, right? Things I do learn, the things that I don't try and repeat. So I know there's progress of me being a human again. I know there is, and I gotta keep going. I watched a little bit of world news. I don't know the last time I watched anything like that, or I had it on like as things I tried to watch just to like break up the monotony in my brain. And I know that could be dangerous for me, but that too is an experiment of where it takes me, and if I notice something, a trigger that shouldn't be there, you know, not to be able to push it aside right now, and and get caught up in it. Like if it really makes me angry, or I can just be like, ha, you know, we may all blow up tomorrow, but at least it wouldn't be by my own hand. And that's where I'm at right now. You know, our whole species could go to waste, and I have to do that in my head, right? Just to focus on me. The whole species could go to waste right now. And I'm not saying I wouldn't care, but at this moment, right now, to look at myself, I don't want to die a bad human. That's all. I just don't want to die a bad human. Quit drinking that. Quit drinking.